Right, Ruby. We met a long time ago, didn't we? Would you like to explain where we met, please? Look at me.
Sometime, I believe, a few years back in London.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. And where? What were we at?
We were at some kind of protest that you were holding.
Okay, that's fine. And we've been sort of friendly ever since, haven't we?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Ruby, whereabouts were you born?
I was born in Pakistan, in Sialkot, Pakistan.
And you lived there with your mum and dad?
That was my birthplace, but we moved to the Sakhar, Sindh, near Karachi, and that was the time the British people in Sakhar headquarters they built, and my father was working in the government, and so we had to be living there. And I been to school there, St. Mary's Catholic school.
But you're not a Catholic, are you?
No, I'm not a Catholic.
And your family are Jewish?
My family originally Jewish from Indian Jewish Mardan and Jalandhar, and there was a Jewish town many years back called Gadiala, and that's where I come from. My parents, my grandparents.
Okay, and when you were younger, you had a little garden out the front of your house and a couple of lambs, didn't you?
Yes, I grew up in a very conservative life with housing and never allowed out. Always taken and guarded to school, never seen life outside. And it was just like a cotton wool, as you would say.
Yeah.
Never knew what the outside world was doing.
You live with your mum. Did you get on with your mum?
No, I didn't get on with my mom at all.
Why was that?
My mom was very much woman who was just like the life of style, money, power, and be the lady of the house. And she didn't know how to look after children, but she was able to have children and give them others to look after them, servants. And so we never seen much of the mother.
Okay, so you didn't like your mum. How'd you get on with your dad?
My dad was wonderful. My dad was a lawyer. He graduated in Murray College in Sialkot, 1962. And he had high dreams for me. He sent me to school, and anything I wanted, I was his first child. Anything I wanted, he would bring it for me. Be it from the foreign world, a dress, doll, he would present it to me. Because he traveled Germany, Iran, all over the world.
Okay. His brother lived with you, didn't he?
Yes, his brother lived. My grandmother died at the birth of my uncle Daniel, and he lives in Pakistan now. He came to live with my mother and me and the father in Sakhar, and he was the snake, like in Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden, as in I've writing the book, and I've described him as the snake in my garden.
Okay, and there was something going on between your mum and your uncle?
There's few times that I found out they were having affair, sleeping together, but that was my sorry day.
Okay. Now, what happened when you were 12?
All of a sudden, I was that year 78. In the summer, normally we go away to grandparents, my grandmother, because I was the first grandchild, very special child. So I was told by the grandparents and the dad and aunties, and go away summer. But that summer, somehow I was told false information that my aunt would go first and I would go later because school holidays, results were coming out in July. And so I didn't go. And my aunt left. My aunt was 5 years older than me, mother's side, her younger daughter. And she would have helped me in all this, but she didn't know what went on later. And so they sent her away. And she was my best friend. And from there, that 78 September, my lamb was slaughtered, and my goat, my birds. And there was such a turmoil, and it was my uncle who did it. Anything I loved, he destroyed.
Why did he do that, do you think?
I think what he wanted was my mother, my father's money, properties, revenue, rest of his life, that he could have comfortable life with. Because my father was always away, sometimes 2 years to Germany, sometimes 6 months somewhere, maybe 1 week sometime. And I wouldn't see my dad, and I used to cry. I said, let my daddy come back, because my daddy teach me wonderful things. He had dreams for me, and I had dreams. St. Mary's School, I used to say to him that I would, when I grow up, like you, Dad, I will bring electricity to the villages, waters, send children to the school, build like things in the cities.
So you had high ideals. What happened to shatter those ideals?
My uncle, who said to me, called me a snake, and he says, I have got, when I told my dad, and he says, look, he means that you are Lion of Judah, and you're Lion's daughter. Because my father's name is very Jewish name. And so my uncle, he just couldn't stand the sight of me, because my father loved me, had private schools, private things, everything I wanted, as a father would give to the child. He didn't like that, and the mother didn't like it. They were always beating me. They burnt me with boiling water. I've got marks on my legs, especially on my right legs, and the left leg is bad due to them. And they have done a lot of tragedies. My grandmother wasn't aware of it. My dad wasn't aware of it. My aunt wasn't aware of it. But these two have inflicted so many
Okay,
injuries.
okay. And they arranged for you to get married, did they?
Yes, my father was traveling to Germany in 1973 as he was coming back, and he met a man on the train which was visiting to India, and his name was Andrew John Hillis. He was English. And my father said, he asked my father on the train. My father liked to always travel like me, scenic routes, like you go on the trains. Let's have a look, which I enjoyed. And he met my dad, and he just befriended my dad and asked my dad that, do you have any daughters? And my dad innocently said, yes, I have 4 daughters. Would you like to see a picture? He said, yes. So my dad took out a picture out of his vault, and I was in the middle. And I was a little madam in the picture with short bob hair, very like little madam, going to school, and my sister standing both beside me, and the younger one, in front of me. And he said, how old is this? My dad said, she's only 10, 11. And he says, I would like to marry her. And my dad says, you couldn't marry this child. I was 73, my fate was decided, coming on from Iran train.
Okay, and how did you actually, your dad said that he couldn't marry you. How did it come about that he did?
Yes. Then my dad, when he came back home, he had told it to my uncle and my mother that he met this man, and my uncle plotted this thing that I would run away with a Muslim guy from school. I would bring shame to the family. As best thing is for me to send me somewhere where I can never come back and punish me. And I had nobody, 12-year age, I had nobody in school. I've never seen anybody, but he made false allegations as a grown up, they all do, for their own agendas and their own life.
Okay, but you were never going to run away with a Muslim.
No, I never, because my father teach me in life. We are living at a very bad time in the years of a Holocaust, and we have survived here. Under Muslims, we have to hide the banner of Christianity. We cannot even tell outside our names right, our birth is right, because they would behead us, kill us. Their mission is to kill Jews in the beginning, then Christians, Hindus, and this is all going to be. So he had a fear in me, never to marry a Muslim. If you ever marry, it'll be somebody Jewish, your background will marry. When you finish your school and when you're 18, 20, when you graduated in Pakistan, work in the government, because he gave my name Arjumand. Arjumand means victory, Fatah. And that he says he had aims for me. So I was never going to do anything, bring shame on to my dad or my parents.
Okay, but your dad wasn't there, and your mother and your uncle conspired together with this Hillis.
Yes, Hillis. And so apparently they were writing letters to the man Hillis. And that's to my horror. I discovered when I arrived in London and Northern Ireland. And one day I was in the garden and some man, we had 7 feet gates long, gates, nobody could get in. Somebody had to let you in. And I was in the garden in front of the house and I was told, pulled by my hair by uncle and says, you get in. He tailed me into the house, back of the house, and the back room, the bedroom, and he locked it. And I said, that man, the white man, tall man, what is he doing here? Why would he be visiting us? Doesn't make sense. This was my tragedy.
And you were locked in the bedroom. So what happened then?
Then I was told by my uncle and my mother, I was beaten up by them and told, as we tell you, you're going to be killed, and your father. If you don't do what we tell you, you're going to marry him. And I said, I am a child. I'm 12. How can I marry somebody 12? And they said, you're no more 12. You're 17. I said, who says I'm 17? They said, the documents all say, schools say. I said, no, it's not possible. It's not possible. Nothing's possible. And there was nobody there that could save me. I went to my dad later, before we got married. I said, Dad, you could give me poison and I will die here and I will not say anything. At least don't send me away to foreign land. Not my country, not my land, not my language, not my food. I don't know anybody. Just kill me somewhere here. And all the people can just say, she's died. And my dad says, my hands are tied. My dignity and respect. Because your grandparents are here. Your grandfather's here. My elder brother's here. And in those days, we cannot let them down. And I was hit over the head to sign. And I said even to the man who was marrying him, I'm a child. Don't do that. He says, can't. And I got hit. I was forced to sign.
And what happened then after you were married to him? What happened then?
Then after the marriage, they took me to another city and then India to get the passport ready. And I never seen my family again for about 2-3 weeks.
But he had sex with you.
Yes, he he had raped me, and I bled very badly. Didn't care, and I keep telling the pedophile, "How could you marry a child?" And that time, I says I could go to school here and finish. By the time I'm 18, 20, I could travel. He said you could finish over there, school and college. But that was all lie. It was all lie because they were all big with money, powers, big jobs.
So he then brought you from Pakistan over to Ireland,
Yes.
Northern Ireland.
Yes, Northern Ireland. He brought me to Heathrow in 1978, 12th of October. I remember this, the day I arrived at Heathrow Airport. And I hoped maybe the immigration at the Heathrow Airport would see a child. And I would say, this is a child. But nobody, everybody ignored.
Did you try and tell anybody at the airport that you were only 12 and that you'd been married to this man against your will?
I tried to tell in Pakistan when I came off the plane 3 times. And I said I didn't want to go. Then I told my dad, you will never see me again. And told my mother, you evil, you'll never see me again. That is my promise to you. And after that, I tried to tell this English woman who sat beside me, who helped me, who stayed in the France with me, and I sleep with her as well. I says to her that they're taking me to Heathrow, and I don't know where I'm going after that. And she said, don't cry. She helped me to eat an apple. She said, don't. She hugged me, everything. France, and the plane stopped in France, and in the morning we had to fly. Morning we flew with her. She departed on the Heathrow, and the paedophile was waiting outside. And we stayed in London for one night. Then we travelled from the Heathrow Airport to City Belfast Airport International.
Where did you stay in London?
I think it's somewhere near the hotel. Heathrow, there was a hotel, and I wasn't allowed to speak to anybody.
But he booked you in as his wife.
Yes. And he says, I'm not allowed to speak. If you speak, I'll slap you. Hit you. And I wasn't he doing all the talking and the family doing all the talking. I was just like a robot. Somebody who just had been thrown in the deep sea, can't swim.
So this Hillis, he treated you actually quite badly.
Well, he took me to Northern Ireland, and he lived at 65 Ballyholme Road, Bangor, County Down, with his sister and 2 nephews and a servant, housemaid, and his dog and me. And the night he took me, his sister said to him, Andy, what has you done? What the hell have you done? He said, shut up, that's for fighting. He said, she said, that's a child you brought in the house. He said, it's nothing to do with you. So this was the whole time. And then he locked me upstairs and used to beat me, hit me, everything. And pedophile would do.
Yeah.
And I just felt my life. Where is a child of care? Parent told. This care of child, duty of child, care of duty given to parent. God gives you it. 10 Commandments told me. One teaching me. Jewish, Torah, reading Urdu telling me. So why? This was all. My faith, my God, my parents, trust was robbed.
Did you have any children with him?
No, I didn't. I asked the sister, can you please help me? I don't want to have any pedophile children. Please help me for a certain time in life. And so she helped me. So I cannot have any more children on that. So I stayed with him 3 years. 3 years after, I went to Bangor College, Technical College, 3 years. Did my GCSEs over there and did full-time education, my cookery classes. The college became my mother because taught me how to cook, how to stitch, knit, how to model clothes, how to read a book, everything. That college became my parent, my mother.
You liked college?
I liked college because I knew while I'm suffering, at least I could learn something that which I have not been taught. I was told I was going to do education and I don't need to do any housework, but that didn't happen. But this has happened.
And did you tell anybody at the college what had happened?
No, because everybody was young and nobody was interested. Nobody would believe such a ludicrous story that I would tell when the grown-ups didn't believe it in my own language. So who's going to believe me in English?
I see. So how old were you when you actually parted with him?
With one of his nephew, James, and James was 14, and I confided in him. I became his friend. And I said, James, would you help me, please? And he taught me how to swim because we lived at the house beside the sea. Swings he used to push, he used to make me happy, teach me how to ride a bike, surfing on the sea. And he used to say, then I said to him, will you help me one day to escape? And he said, yes. And so I told him, once I'm 15, then we'll do it. He agreed and he helped me the night I jumped out of the window, my bedroom. I think it was 10, 11 o'clock in the night.
Do you still see him?
I never saw him after that night. I don't know what happened to him because I remember jumping out of the window and he says to me, you forgot your shoes. And I said, don't worry. I said, have you hurt yourself? I said, never worry. The lights went on in the house. So I ran over the hedges, the back, and over to the next house and hid in the garden till the early hours of the morning. About, I think, 5 o'clock in the morning. From there, I walked to Bangor police station, counted 20 miles on my bare feet in winter. And that night, they were all men in the police station, and they called a man, male doctor. He examined me, and he said he found bruises and all this. But somehow, Andy Hillis had power. He was English, and he was a lord. His father was a lord, some English doing music, Essex shop, Scottish music things. And they were very powerful as well, like my own family. So evil meets the evil, So it was, the police just hid the case, did not record it 30 years ago, 30 years ago. So that was something very bad. And after that, I went out and found for the next morning for the police station, I was driven from the sergeant's car to Castlereagh police station, Northern Ireland, Belfast. That's where I met that day. And I told him, I says, I'm a child, will you help me? I don't want to go back to pedophile. I don't want to go back to my parents, my family. I don't want to know anybody. Will you help me, please? I have no documents. And he decided he's going to help me. And then he took his secretary and me separate in the car to have a cup of tea, everything. And he says, the bravery of me walking in and asking and telling the truth, I want help. At that young age, he admired me. And so he says, I will go and get your passport from him and your documents. I says, I've walked with not even shoes, not anything, with no documents, no pictures. And went to his house and says, I've got a warrant. Can you give her Irish passport over? Which she got from India. And that was her right. Her grandparents were Indians. And that's where she got her passport. And he says he didn't have it. He says he would search his house if we didn't give it. He said it took him a long time. Eventually he brought my Irish passport out, which I had been granted nationality already in 1978. And he held my nationality papers. He didn't hand them over, just a passport. From the passport, from the Castlereagh police station, helped me to Barter Children's Home. Then from there, they found me a family. There was a lady who was married, English lady was married, Irish lady was married to an Arab. She had 2 daughters. I stayed with them. So he thought that her husband's Arab, so she would have something to do with. She could help her young children. So wonderful woman, but she was an alcoholic. Another story of my life. And she had 2 daughters which were suffering at the hand of mother and the father beating and all that. And I was just seeing horror and horror. And that's where then contacted some Pakistani people on the street on the Belfast, and I'm still friends with them to this day.
Good. So this Mr. Was he a police officer?
He was a police inspector, top of the Home Office, immigration, in those days. And he was an angel, my guardian, my godfather, I call him.
But they didn't actually prosecute Mr.
No, because he helped me with the passport to get a divorce and get my national insurance number and get my life back into normal because I had no other documents. And then I moved on from there. Then I met my husband, I married. And he met me at the beach, Helens Bay, and he seen me with a paedophile. He has recently given evidence into the court. They have visited him, the police. And he says, yes, she was with the paedophile. He brought her when she was 12. I seen her coming down the hill. And he was 16, 17 at the time. And he says, oh, what the hell? And he said, then 16, I was with him. He found me. I was working in Helens Bay and he seen me 16 and he says, wow, what the girl is working in Helens Bay, you know, from in the bar, top bars, in the high street in Ireland, Bangor. And I've changed. I worked in the two jobs, one in the bar and one in the, what you call is, rolling skate shop. I worked there 6 to 11. From 11 till 4, I worked up there, Helen's, High Street in the Bangor, Hellsman, the bar. And in the morning, I used to go to college. And I rented a place top of the hill in Bangor, seaside. And I stayed up there and I did my things, did my work, and didn't contact anybody. And I think one time my father found out that I was working in the skate place. They phoned me. They said, some man, yes, your father, he says, he's in Austria. And he says he's looking for his daughter, Arjmund. And I said, tell him there's nobody. Tell him there's nobody. So that was that. So this was cutting out. But I still kept in touch with 2 other people, asking about my sisters, 4 sisters, sending them gifts. But they didn't know where I lived.
Okay, so you married this, you?
I married, and from he had a good Christian family, Irish good Christian, going to church, parents very good. But he started smoking drugs, cannabis, and drinking alcohol at the age of 16. Obviously, in his time, bored at home. And he said to me that when he met me at 16, he says to me he would like to marry me. And I said, but I don't love you. And he says, I'll make love you. He would make me. He loved me more than anybody on this earth. And so he says he would give up drugs and drinks. And I had a first child with him. Actually, I have 3 children to him. And but he never stopped smoking, intimidating me, bullying me, jealous. Anybody looked at me outside in the streets, a boy, he would punch their faces if they even smile at me. I didn't wear makeup till 18 till he buy me.
So, I mean, that can't have been a lot of fun, being sort of, you know, regarded as personal property that nobody else was near.
I think this was what his family, the Irish family, they were good, but yet they were his family, not mine.
Okay, so you had the 3 children with him. How many children do you have?
I have actually 5, and one child, Swandle, I haven't seen for 19 years because my sister's in Austria and my mother made false papers in the social services and the courts and did my signatures. Says I abandoned the child, but I never. So they got the custody.
How did you come to England?
I came to England because one night I seen my husband in the veranda in our house smoking cannabis. And I went back to bed, and in the morning I booked myself a ticket to England in 1992. That was the end of it. I says I didn't want any more. No husband who's druggy, alcohol, and I have 2 beautiful daughters. I have big dreams for them. So this is where I left him.
Okay, are you divorced from him now?
Yes.
And
My sister lived with him as well, the younger sister, 2 years.
So basically, you came to England, and how did you survive in England?
My dad and I had a business, property business, an import and export business. And from there, I worked on doing my social work activities for homeless people, Trinity Church in Harrow. I built my centre 2003, welfare helping single parents, elderly people. But for Harrow Council 2007, they made me homeless. Social services didn't help me. Council didn't help me. They made my father homeless and me and my 2 children and my daughter.
Now, I understand that there was an attempt, which you were with me one night, and we went out to meet somebody who said that the ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan wanted to meet you.
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened with that?
Is it possible that I can tell about my dress where I was living? I was made homeless, and 30 years my belongings were destroyed by the Harrow Council. I never recovered them. My children had suffered for 2 years, homeless, my 2 boys. We came to this house with nothing. With our own money, my own money, working, I got the house and deposit in. And there, she knows me for those times. And you know me times. I have never told anybody anything.
Yeah, but I took you to meet somebody who was going to take you to meet the Prime Minister of Pakistan, ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan. What happened there?
That night that I got the phone call, there's were happening in London conference, and my sheriff, some is wanting to see me, and I'm invited, and I says, I don't have anything to do with Pakistanis, and I don't want nothing to do with it because I don't have any passports, only my birthplace. I don't have any links with them. So why would I go and visit him? But they insisted he wants to see you. And they said they would pick me up. And you were here and you spoke to them.
Yes, I did. And it was agreed that we would meet them somewhere else.
In a Pinner Green, a station, petrol station. And you told me to sit in the car. And some man, Pakistani, Muslim, he came to speak to you and said to you that he wanted me to come in the van. And after you said no, she'll not go into the van. She will come with me in the car and we will follow you.
And what happened then?
Then that van drove off the other way and you found out there was no number plates on it.
And
Red van.
And so he didn't just drive off, did he? He sped off.
Yeah, he was in a hurry.
Yeah.
Because he was about to kidnap me, and which didn't happen because of you, Albert. You rescued me.
Well, I'm glad I did.
Tell the story.
Now you've just been off to several places abroad, doing your charity work, and you were let down by your bank, weren't you? Somewhat badly.
Barclays Bank, 2 weeks didn't send me the emergency funds out of my own money, and made me destitute. Country became halt, stopped anti-government protest, and I was evacuated from British Embassy, and British Embassy who helped me and told me, don't look left when you're coming out, right, don't go right, go left, and don't come out and stay somewhere safe. The country's shut down. All the places are shut down. And I had no money. And he says to me, ring your daughter and ask her to give you £100 for tonight to stay safe. I rang my daughter and she says, I don't have any £100 to lend you. I says, I'm not going to ring again. So I just left it.
And then what happened? You spoke to me, didn't you, on Facebook?
Yes. Then I went and borrowed somebody's, internet, and asked them, can I just send somebody something? And that's where I sent you all the things.
And what happened then?
Then I was in the British Embassy again, and that day on the 21st of January, that day I was flying to Delhi and Calcutta, and I was waiting for my visa. So I went to British Embassy to get some money from the bank, and that day he really speak to the bank and said, give her money. Because British Embassy is not job to give me money, a foreign offices. It's bank my own funds. Who are Barclays Bank to withhold my money? And this is Barclays Bank who made me destitute. And Indian Embassy took my money for the visa and said, give me conflicting information. They say I would get visa 6 days and you have enough time to fly. But when I go to the Thai airline and the passport, the manager, he said, neither he give me money, he just give me the passport, British. And he wrote on the back of it, resubmitted. And Thai airline said that flight is cancelled. I said, what a ludicrous information I'm getting with the professionals. Flight is cancelled to Calcutta, 21st, 9:55. And where's my money? Where's my visa? And I bought myself 9,000 Sri Lanka Thai baht money ticket to Sri Lanka, Colombo. And I arrived in Colombo the next day, the 22nd.
Okay, but you're back home safe now.
Yes. Thanks to family over there. Can I just say one more thing? I opened over there a center for assisting my charity with the Manuel and her husband Ajit and senior lawyer who was retired and who joined my center. Ruby Rescue Lanka Trust. 10th of February opened in Sri Lanka, Colombo.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ruby. That was very good. Thank you.